You for joining Propy's weekly webinar, How to Run Your Real Estate Business Online, episode 67. Today, we're going to take a quick look at the state of the Florida market, how to stay ahead of market trends and the shifts, and how do you take advantage of them, and how to navigate complex deals with less stress. I'm Gwyneth Iredale. I'm your host today at Propy. And we are so pleased to have today our guest, Trevor Puskar, who is the market president at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Florida Properties Group. Trevor, we're so thrilled to have you. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And gosh, what a stellar background you have. You're a respected authority in the real estate market. You have experience holding leadership positions in your community. You have experience managing complex real estate transactions that include short sales and foreclosures. I also saw that you're a Freemason. That is so cool. And you're a commissioned Kentucky colonel. So that is an amazing background. So I'm curious, what else do you have in your background that gives you these unique skills to be a leader?
Well, alumni of University of South Florida, so that's go Bulls. But more importantly, since it's real estate, I'm past president of the Lakeland Association of Realtors and district vice president, past for the Florida Realtors, and I currently hold the chairperson for government affairs, public policy for our association, our local association of Realtors, Lakeland. So stay involved with that. I like to know who's making the policy for our state and our local municipalities. So that really helps be really engaged and be a professional in real estate. So I really enjoy giving back to our industry. I believe wholeheartedly, if you give back to it, it will give back to you. So
Yes.
I'm always looking for new opportunities to learn and be able to better help my office and my agents here at Berkshire Hathaway Florida Properties Group, because when you quit learning, you quit earning. So
I love that.
that's a mantra of mine. So
That's a great takeaway. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that you you look like a natural coach and that you enjoy coaching as well. So why would an agent join your group?
Well, one of the unique things that we hear, I'm a non-compete broker, so I don't actively list or sell anymore. So my job is to support the agents and help them be successful. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is coaching our agents one-on-one, new experience or whatever, and a myriad of other situations. So I'm always here for our agents. We want to make sure that we have professional agents that are up to date. They can get the resources and the answers they're looking for, because real estate's a moving target.
Yes.
No two deals are alike. No markets alike. You could wake up one day and think, well, this is the way it's going to go, and go to bed. It's a complete 180. We a lot of times tend to think as real estate as sticks and bricks, but we're dealing with humans. There's a lot of emotion, and so that plays a big part of it. So if I could do it over again, I should have went and got my psychology degree, because that'd probably help a little bit better where I sit here as a broker. So one of the reasons I think that we beat the trends, especially with the lockdown here at Florida Properties Group, is that one-on-one, being there for our customers, and staying engaged with our real estate agents, our professionals. We want them to be real estate solution providers, not just a transactional agent that's looking for the next commission. So we're looking to be the forever agent, essentially.
Wow, for the lifetime of their clients. Yeah,
Right.
that's great. I think it's seven transactions in the average life cycle of a client.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. So in your market, there's been a lot of change. Businesses are moving in. There's a lot of construction, and I don't know the job situation. Can you comment on the trends that you're seeing in the Florida market?
So, I mean, you can look at the national level. A lot of people are moving to Florida. Last I looked, we are slated to have roughly anywhere between 750 and 1,200 people a day, depending on what statistic you move to Florida. The growth here can't outpace the building. So that is seeing a huge uptick in our market. Central Florida alone, Polk County, we're up 38% year over year. Our particular office, our Lakeland office for Florida Properties Group, is up 77%.
Wow.
When we see trends cash deals year over year in May, it's up 148%. We're seeing a huge influx of people like we've never seen before, and they're coming from other hot markets from the Northeast and the Midwest, and they're selling their houses and coming to a more favorable tax climate, better job climate. And better climate in general, right?
Yes. And you're on
So,
the Gulf side, right? You're on the Gulf side?
well, we're landlocked. We're Polk County, so think of us as
Mm,
the belt buckle between Tampa and Orlando.
great. That gives people
The
some
growth,
understanding.
we have Amazon flights coming in and everything like that.
Ah,
So unlike the last boom, where it was just based on housing speculation, we seem to be having companies come in as well. They're on County Line Road, which you guys probably don't know. There are millions of square foot of warehouse space going up as we speak. I mean, they're 4 or 5 rows deep. So a lot of
mm,
hubs that are coming in here. So there's jobs being coupled with the housing growth, which is nice. So.
yeah, that's excellent. So how do your agents attract those the influx of people then? If there are new jobs and people coming in, you've probably got everything from millennials and retirees, everything in the middle. So are there certain positioning statements or tactics they use to attract
Well,
new
we
clients?
have coupled system. We have a local, we have a relocation department. So
Uh,
a lot of that business comes through us, and Melanie and Jessica and our e-leads department runs that up, and they vet everybody, and depending where it is, and they have a relocation package. So we have to compete
nice.
for that, and our agents have to be professional. They have to be vetted, qualified. So there's that aspect of the business too. Being Berkshire Hathaway and as successful as our company has been, it's a natural fit for a lot of these companies. As far as our just, I would just say, organic moves, is staying in touch and engaged. We do a
Mhm.
lot of advertising with AdWorks. So we used to be heavy in the newspaper printed advertising, which we know, where that's at. So when we get listings, our company provides it. The agents don't have to pay for it. They do the social media retargeting. If they're looking, then a pixel, if you look at shoes on Amazon, you
Yes.
start going on Propy website and you see an ad for shoes, right? They're thinking. So
Yes.
we utilize a lot of that technology. So one, it helps our sellers get greater exposure, and it's organic exposure, as organic you can be on the web. And it helps our agents cultivate the leads coming into them directly, and we send them
Nice.
right back to our agents. So that's one of the technologies we use, and we provide that for our agents and our sellers.
Sounds like a fantastic advantage. And of course, you've got the well-recognized brand of Berkshire Hathaway behind that.
Right.
Um, you did mention the tax benefits of purchasing for the inbound
Mhm.
migration here of purchasing. What are the tax benefits? Property taxes low or?
Well, our property taxes are low. I would say in Polk County, a $250,000 home, your taxes are roughly going to be, if you don't have any homestead or anything like that, if you're just buying new, are probably going to be around $3,000, give or take. And you obviously could reach out to
Mm,
one of our professional agents to give you a much closer number.
sure.
That's really good. We don't have the state income tax.
Oh,
That's
nice.
also, we're getting people that are coming down here and they're still getting paid on California or New York wages with no state income tax here, being able to work at home. So our sales tax is relatively low as well. And it's in our constitution. We have to balance our budget every year as well. So all of those things, they kind of compound on each other when you're looking at say somewhere in the Northeast, and you're just like, my kids aren't in school because of whatever shutdowns or whatever. I've always wanted to be in Florida. The weather's great. Let's just go ahead and move and reap those benefits. So we're seeing a lot of that.
Excellent. Nice. Now, you mentioned some of the data. I heard you say a growth rate of over 70%. So that points to some of the statistics that you have. And let's move on to discussing the trends and how do you use the information about the trends? How do you assimilate that into marketing? And what are the advantages to buyers and sellers when the agent can understand how to use that data?
Right. So there's two things. Is one is you're an agent, and we teach our agents at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, especially Florida Properties Group, to be their own CEO. So
Oh, I like that.
we find that a lot of agents are on accident, not on purpose. Oh, I'm being better, right? Well, any real estate agent, any company should be able to open up their financials or their books and say, we're doing better year over year because the market rising tides float all ships. But if
Mm,
you're not if you're at to say 38% here, you haven't gained any market share. You haven't outperformed the market. So you need to know if you're running a business, how are you compared to the market and to your competitors? You could be up 15% year over year and think, great. Well, if the market's up 38%, you have to reassess. Also, what I find that with the coaching and our training with your customers, buyers and sellers, is to explain the market that they are listing or buying their house in, multiple offers, escalations, and things like that. As being a broker for almost 10 years now, I find that 9 out of 10 times, the majority of all issues or misunderstandings could be avoided if the agent educates
mm,
the buyer or the seller in the process from the get-go. Because you could say, hey, look, I don't want you to seem like I'm pushy, but let me show you. Average sale price to purchase price is 100%. We're getting 30, 40 offers. And here's the number. So I don't want you to think it's me, but this is the market that we're in. Cash sales up year over year are 148%. So if you're going to get a loan, don't get discouraged. That's the market we're in. It's not me, right? But if you're just kind of doing that, like, oh, why didn't we get the deal? And then you're explaining to it, then they might not think you're doing a great job. We get customers that come to us say, well, my agent wasn't doing a good job because we kept losing deals. And then we look at maybe their loan terms weren't as favorable and we could tweak it or do some other things. And that as well as for sellers and buyers. So if you know the numbers, you don't want to be like, oh, the market's great. Well, yeah, it's great. What does that mean to me? Because it might not be great for somebody else in that segment of the market. What is it like $1 million and up?
hmm.
Oh, I hear market
Right.
homes are going in 3 days. Well, your house is in the higher price range. So if you look at the higher, it's going to sit a little while, and it's because of that price point. So when you're going on listing presentations, and any talking to your neighbors. Hey, did you know your house is appreciated 20 something percent year over year? Have you ever even thought about buying? I know it's inflated, but buying it and putting it in an IRA, somebody else paying for your retirement.
Mm,
If you're getting 7, 10% in the market, you have a house held in an IRA, right? This is what we want to be trusted real estate advisors. People don't even realize that. And that monthly rent, as long as it's managed by a professional property manager, which we have that in-house, we manage around 1,600 properties. We can help with that. We can help grow your wealth outside of that. So you got to know the numbers. You have to know the numbers to have a purposeful conversation. Other than that, market's great. House is probably up year over year. I'm doing great. 2 more transactions. Fine. Right. Great. Right. Well, where
yeah.
are you
So
at
what
in the
I'm
world?
what I'm hearing you say is there can often be a disconnect, right? So the trend looks great for the medium number, the medium type of buyer or a seller, but how does it relate to the particular situation, maybe a VA loan or something that's going to. So
Right.
each client, your training is to, educate the client specifically to their situation, the fact that appraisals are lagging, be realistic about how you structure your offer to be more competitive. And then I also heard you say some really creative a deal point that's creative that the agents would be smart to be open to suggesting different creative financing or positioning, maybe it's rent back or something. So it
Right.
sounds like you have training for your agents as well, and some
Mhm.
resources and partners.
Mhm.
Maybe you have a mortgage company you work
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
that
we own
can help.
we own part of a mortgage company, Preferred Lending Services, and they're great. So you
Excellent.
can really bend the ear and just say what's the best interest of the customer. Everybody is going to say that they're the best and they can do better than the next. But at the end of the day, anything you do, if you're not unsure, you can always ask yourself, is this in the best interest of my customer? And more than often than not, that's going to give you the answer to the question, if you
Yeah.
want to stay in this and do it for a career over a long term.
I'm thinking back of how it used to be. You could get a market snapshot, you could get the trends from CoreLogic or maybe even Zillow, but how do you
Mhm.
interpret the trends? And you really need a real estate agent because it needs to be so local, right? It's
Right.
it's all about local. It used to be how do you interpret that information? And that was the selling point, or like a comp, right? How
Right.
do you can get a comp off of any number of providers, but what does it mean to the seller, or what does it mean to the buyer when you see days on market is shrunk down to just 30 days? So
If
there's a big gap there, isn't there?
there is a big gap, and there's a trust gap.
Mm,
Sometimes there's a professionalism gap there. You got to kind of take yourself out of the real estate agent mind and just say, if I walked into a stock brokerage and they just handed me a bunch of numbers, what does that mean to me? So
exactly.
you gotta remember that, because we do it day in and day out. The customer might only do it once every 5 to 8, 9, 10 years. So, and it's changed drastically. So you've got to be that professional, and you have to help. Now, some customers might get it, some might already know, but you don't really know who's going to walk through that door. So you have to be prepared for every situation. You got to wake
Wow.
up every morning, read some articles, do the basics, and go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah. When you stop learning, you stop earning.
Right.
So I love that.
Or you get
Yep.
left
Yep.
behind.
Yep. So you've mentioned some creative deal points for transactions. So now, how do your agents keep track of that if they have deals that range in such a variety of structure? How can they reduce the stress and stay on top of all the different deals that they have going, and communicate with their broker as well?
Right. We do our best to try to give our agents the tech tools and things like that for contract management. We have full staff in our office that sometimes the agents don't like,
Mm,
because they're like, "Hey, you forgot to do this or whatever." But we're trying to keep everything, one, compliant, because we have a whole legal aspect of it as well.
sure.
And so as far as CRMs, things like that, our contract software you can program dates for inspections, who's responsible for what, your lending, your loan approval timeline, your title commitment timeline. So all those things, if you get them programmed, that will remind you, so you don't have to use as much brain power or staying up at night. You set it, it's done, and you can move on. As far as brokerage, if you're new or experienced, I could tell you, I could sit on this webinar for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week for a year straight. And you're going to go out and do your first deal, and it's going to be something that we didn't even cover. I mean,
Wow.
and to know that I'm here on the weekends, I'm not going to answer my phone at midnight. I will tell my agents, if you call me at midnight, I will call you when I wake up. I love making those phone calls at 5 o'clock in the morning. Um, so it is to work through it. There, I don't care how experienced you are or new you are. Just take escalation clauses, for instance. Those are all new hot topic, no appraisals
Mm.
and things like that. And I'm seeing ones that are submitted to us from other companies. I'm like, this is bad. This is bad for
Wow.
the customer. Good for us,
I would never never waive an appraisal, but that's me
good,
as
good for
a buyer.
us, our customer. But to be able to call and just say, hey, I'm doing this. Can you take a look at it? And I can go in the software from my phone, and take a look at it and say, looks great, or hey, we forgot to do this, or maybe we need to change that, or maybe we didn't use the correct addendum. It's really fast paced, especially when you're putting an offer like, hey, there's already 30 contracts on it. We need it an hour ago. So is to help with that. But to know that no matter what in our company, I don't care if it's our owners that have owned the company since 1984. You can call them. We have a newer agent. Our owners are big commercial. We were number 2 in the world for Berkshire Hathaway commercial, and he's got a big land deal. Not my experience, not my expertise. Our owner, he's a land guy, and he's helping. No matter how 6,000 transactions we do a year, he's helping that brand new agent try to figure out how to get this land sold up in the panhandle. Don't ask him too much about land. I know if it's got bald eagles or gopher turtles, that's not good, for development. But anybody in our corporate reload, you gotta surround yourself with people who are willing to help, because we really pride ourselves, and nothing makes me happier than seeing our agents grow and be successful, because we're helping other people in their lives. Not only are we helping people achieve the American dream with their owning their home, helping their kids get through school, downsize, retirement, we are, at least in my opinion, we're helping our agents do that. That's why they're in real estate. It's not just a job. It's a way of life, and you need that. You have to have it. Everybody needs to be surrounded by a team.
In you, I can see from your experience, your volunteerism, your leadership roles, that you are passionate about that. And that is an amazing quality for a leader in your market, and for providing those services to agents so that they can help more people get into homes more easily, right? Yeah. So you mentioned, new agents, and what would you say is your advice for new agents? It sounds like you're saying, surround yourself with people who are experienced. Is there any other advice that you have for coming into a crazy market like this?
Inexperience can be a benefit. Contracts and markets change, right? So you have people that might have been through a real estate cycle, like I've been through this before. Well, I can guarantee you haven't. And so not knowing those bad habits, don't feel afraid. No matter how much you can never train enough. I learn stuff every day. In August, we have a convention, and I'll be taking some classes there. Look, I mean, you can't train enough. Know that contract. I've had agents on co-op deals saying, well, I just filled out the blanks. You got to know that thing forward and backwards, the legal liability alone. So never make a point every day to train. Know the basics. Look, people want to do business they know, like, and trust. That hasn't changed. It's highly personal. But they want to do business they know, like, trust, and flow. So frequency of interaction. You can't just say, well, they love me, they'll call me in a year. They're going to forget. When I was selling real estate, as much as I, like, Gwyneth didn't wake up and say, honey, I can't take the kids to school today. I got to send my realtor some referrals. So you've got to stay engaged. It's a people business. It always has been. Technology can help with that, but it cannot replace it. The market always changes. So if you're choosing a company or whatever, there's always somebody out there that's trying to make a better mousetrap. I get it. It's fine. We wouldn't get a man on the moon if we didn't have that type of, entrepreneurial spirit and ingenuity. But look at somebody who's been through the cycles, an established brand or established company, like Berkshire Hathaway, Florida Properties Group, 1984. Our same owners, Dewey and Allen, leadership group is fantastic, and they've been through it all up until this point. So if you want to do it for a career, you want to be with a solidified, established company. At least that's my opinion.
And a leader who is passionate about what they do.
Right. Know your goals.
Oh, yeah.
Every broker will say, come work for us. You make $1 million in 2 years, this, that, and the other. We have leads all day long. Well, look, if leads were that good, I wouldn't need commissioned salespeople. So a broker should be able to sit down. If you're talking with somebody, they should tell you, if you want to make $200,000 this year, based on the average sale price, based on how many hours you're willing to work a day. This is how many contacts. These are the daily activities you have to do to succeed and hit your goals. So if you don't know your daily numbers, that's your job. Most people, well, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm going to do a couple things and this, that, and the other. I need to contact 7 people a day. I need to follow up with the 2 people that I talked to on Friday. I need to write, X amount of contracts. I need to train, whatever it is, you've got to know your daily goals. You think any successful company, you walk into a boardroom, how are we doing this quarter? I don't know, pretty good. You'd be fired, right? You think Warren Buffett for Berkshire Hathaway doesn't know where they're needed and always reassess. Today, we did a 6-month reassessment with our office, and we had a workshop, and everybody, okay, this is what I want in my life. Everybody does it the first of the year, but we do it. Well, I do it as often as weekly, quarterly, whatever, depending on the life cycle of the agent. But we all get together as a group and do it together, so we kind of are accountable to each other.
Yeah, I was just going to mention accountability partners that even agents might want to break off and keep each other accountable. But if you have that already in your
Right.
organization, that's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Work with an office with a great culture.
Yeah.
Go in there if you're happy, you're fun. I mean, there's a whole work at home movement. That's great. Me personally, I'd be scrubbing my baseboards. I don't know, right? But you learn from being around each other. You learn from other people's wins, failures, right? Weird. We have 2 listings that are going on in our office right now, and it's crazy, right? So, um, work with make a point to go in the office, dress up, be professional. You want to go
Yes.
see your attorney and he's got a t-shirt on and flip-flops? No. If you want to make that kind of money and you want to be seeing that same light as your accountant or your attorney, act like it. Be professional. Um, Find a system. No matter what system is, there's not going to be a perfect one. Trust me, I've beat my head against the wall. Nothing's going to be perfect. This one's going to, it's like Ford or Chevy, this one's going to have a little bit different, but the basics, stick with it. Anything you do is going to take at least 90 days. If we're in front of a class of people, I'd say, raise your hand who's been on a diet.
Yep.
How long did you take? If you got to the 90-day mark, were you successful? Generally, yes. If you got a few weeks in, it's anything in life. Real estate and business is no longer. If you purchase a tech platform, use it, but you got to use it every day. Not, oh, this is my excuse for looking productive. You've got to use it. You got to use it every day. You have to give it some time. If you're just chasing the next shiny object, that's all you're going to be doing and spending money. The wash. I have hired more people that have left the industry than I have. More people are hired and leave the industry than stay in the industry. That is a fact. It's 25% washout rate every year.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
only
because
the
we don't
cream of
want
the
to do the
crop
basics.
rises.
Right? You're your own boss. I can help you as much as I can. I will do anything that I can for you. But as soon as you walk out that door, it's up to you to do the activities.
Yep.
Um,
We are coming right up to the bottom of the hour. We just have a couple of minutes, so I do want to leave some time to see if you have any parting thoughts to leave with us. You've just listed a whole bunch of really valuable information, and for that we are so grateful. But is there any one thing that you want to resonate in people's minds as they watch this webinar?
be consistent.
Be consistent.
Consistency is the key. Make your program, put your blinders on, and be consistent. That's with anything in life, right? Be consistent. If you're consistent, you might not think you're the best, but I promise you, if you're consistent, you take your head up out of the books or the contracts a year later, you'll be more successful than 80% of the people in your office, in your market. It's the 80-20 rule.
Excellent.
It's glaringly obvious in real estate. Be consistent and you will do okay. Don't think because you're
Excellent.
not doing something somebody else is doing, that's fine. They could be the best at that, but if they're not consistent, they're not going to succeed.
Thank you. And then find what you're best at to be
Find what you're
consistent.
best at. Everybody's a niche. Every agent that
Yes.
I hire, it's for a specific trait that they have that maybe another agent in the office doesn't.
Yes.
We pride ourselves on having smaller offices, as many transactions. I don't have hundreds of agents licensed out of my office. I have 50.
Mm-hmm.
And we do the volume that we do with professional agents. We pride ourselves on that. Berkshire Hathaway Florida Properties Group. You could be You could be a Motel 6 or you could be a Ritz-Carlton. There's nothing wrong with either business model. I'd love to be the main shareholder of either one. But where do you fit into that business model? And you got to pick
Exactly.
one, and you got to live that way. So
Yeah.
we're, I think, at least Florida Properties Group and the group of people and the leadership and the agents that we surround ourselves in is more the Ritz-Carlton group.
Excellent. I would agree with my perception of your brand. So
I
excellent. You have
appreciate
shared so many valuable points here. We thank you so much. I will invite people who want to stay on to show how Propy can address some of the challenges that agents face in keeping track of all those transactions with
it. Right.
creative deal terms. So, but we will say thank you so much,
Thank
Trevor.
you.
We really
I would
appreciate all
love to
the
stay on
gems
longer, but I am
you're heading
the
us.
key contact for Tallahassee and Chair of Public Policy. So somebody announced they run it for city commission, so I have to go meet them, and it starts at 4:30. So
Yeah,
if anybody
do
has
your
any
civic duty.
questions, I don't care if you're from Cal. I mean, I'm Florida specific. So if you need help with that, I can't help you. But um, I don't care if whatever company it is, we all still work together. You have the buyer, we have the seller, vice versa. We're trying to help them get to the finish line. So I'm here to help, answer any questions. Feel free. I like all of our agents to be professional. So just because they're not with us, I still want you to be professional because you're working with us. We need to represent our industry well as well. So
Well, thank you, Trevor Puskar from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Florida Properties Group. We appreciate you being a guest on Propy's weekly webinar.
all
So we'll
right.
say goodbye to you
Thank you.
and thank you. And we invite our participants to check in with us for next week's episode as well. Thank you, Trevor. And at this point, I'm going to share my screen. And for those who are interested in seeing a little bit more about how Propy can solve some of the challenges that Trevor mentioned about managing complex transactions on Propy. So here's a quick look at our dashboard of transactions, and I'll just give you a quick look at what happens when you start a transaction on Propy, and maybe you've used offer management that brings the information from the deal through the offer process and flows right into transactions. And we can open up how we manage transactions on our platform in a step-by-step process here. We give our users a way to walk through each step. You can edit the setup and invite deal participants to participate in the deal. And at each stage, you can add more documents, sign them with our DocuSign integration. Managed checklists. We have a very robust and deep functionality and checklists. Assign tasks, track them, reminders, due dates, etc. And as you walk through each part or skip if you need, we allow you to submit documents here that it's a great way to stay organized and know where you are in each stage of the documents. And we've introduced recently commission distribution authorization as well. And one of our differentiations is that we can register these on blockchain. So I will just show you what does that mean. We are tracking every single step in this transaction here, time stamping it, and our smart contracts that run on the Ethereum blockchain are used to automate some of these steps and register that they actually happened and the transfer of ownership at the end of the transaction on blockchain. If you're interested in learning more, we invite you to go to propy.com and click Get a Demo, and we would love to show you more about this. We have an easy to use tool that will allow you to manage transactions, and also the Propy Offers is a fantastic way to bring offers through an offer submission form online. So thank you so much for your attendance here on Propy's weekly webinar, and we'll see you next week. I'm Gwyneth Iredale from